Hello, it's Midday Live from the News Hub at Desawe in Accra. My name is Parkwisi Asari, bringing you the very latest in local plus international stories. And coming up, uneasy calm at Salaga in the Savannah region following their attempt comments. The Auditor General proposes an amendment of the Constitution to allow individuals to take up prosecution of corruption-related cases. And elsewhere on the foreign front, authorities in Sudan order the release of all detainees held during weeks of anti-government protest. We've got the very latest details of these and many more stories, including the very latest in business, sports, and entertainment, all coming up in the next 60 minutes. Be reminded that we're also streaming live on Facebook. You can join us with views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Let's begin with happenings in Salaga, because 7 persons have been arrested in connection with the banning of the Salaga South New Patriotic Party constituency office by some irate youth on Tuesday, February 12. The suspects were identified and picked up in the early hours of Wednesday, February 13, upon intelligence to assist in investigations.
The rampaging youth also pulled down an undisclosed number of party billboards in the town. Their next stop was the office of the Municipal Assembly and the residence of the Municipal Chief Executive, Mohamed Lamimu, but that was truncated following the swift intervention of the East Gonja Police Command. The violence was their reaction following the naming of Damongo as the Savannah regional capital. The protesters contend Salaga was more deserving because it has better facilities fit for a regional capital than Damongo.
It's a pretty fluid situation there. We have the Northern Regional Police Public Relations Officer, Northern Regional Correspondent Zubaida Ismail, who's been monitoring developments there. Zubaida, what more can you tell us on this story?
What I can tell our viewers on the story is that currently a team of military officers has been dispatched from the Bimbila quarters to ensure that calm is restored within Salaga and its environs. I can also add that in an interview with the Northern Regional Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Yusuf Tanko, I tried to ask whether these persons would be arraigned before court anytime soon, but he told me that they cannot even charge them because these are mere suspects, and so the police establishes that indeed they were a part of those that went on rampage in Salaga yesterday. They cannot do anything further than that. But then they are investigating them. They've taken their statements and they are investigating to see whether they are guilty of any wrongdoing. Again, this morning, at about 9 minutes past 8 this morning, a section of youth in Salaga also massed up in front of the East Gonja Municipal Police Headquarters, and their reason was that they were demanding for the release of the 7 suspects. They actually gave the police a 2-hour ultimatum to release these 7 persons, and failure to do so by the police, they were going to attack the police headquarters, and that necessitated the dispatch of military officers from Bimbila to go and assist the police there to control the situation. And so I must say that with the arrival of the military officers, they were able to disperse these youth, and then calm has been restored at the police quarters and within the Salaga township.
Thank you very much, our Northern Regional Correspondent Zubaida Ismail, bringing us the very latest updates on development in Salaga. The story is that 7 persons have been arrested in connection with the banning of the Salaga South New Patriotic Party constituency office by some irate youth on Tuesday, February 12. Now, the suspects were identified and picked up in the early hours of Wednesday, February 13, upon intelligence to assist in investigations. We're trying hard to reach the public relations officer of the Northern Region Police Command, Yusuf Tanko, and just when we get him, we'll bring him on the phone lines to also update us on this latest development. You're still watching Midday Live here on TV3. Be reminded that we're streaming live on Facebook. You can join us with your views, comments, and suggestions on our top story this hour. Our excerpt of yesterday's violence in Salaga, where we're told 7 persons have been arrested in connection with the burning of the Salaga South New Patriotic Party constituency office by some irate youth on Tuesday, February 12. The suspects were identified and picked up in the early hours of Wednesday, February 13, upon intelligence to assist in their investigations. All right, so we're going to stay a while longer on the subject about violence in the Salaga constituency as a result of yesterday's naming of regional capital by the president. Shortly, we'll also be going to the Jubilee House where the president is presenting the constitutional instrument for the creation of the Bono East region. But let me get on the phone lines now and speak to Adam Bona. He's a security analyst. Adam Bona, thank you very much for your time. So what do you make of the latest violence in the Salaga region, where we're told the party office of the New Patriotic Party has been pulled down?
Yes, good afternoon and good afternoon to your viewers. I must admit, this is despicable. This is something that should never have happened. And this country, we are getting to a point, or we've gotten to a point where by virtue of the fact that some people who think that they belong to a particular political party or belong to a political party, NDC, MPP, would, take the laws into their own hands and, do what they have to do because to them, they are untouchable. I want to believe that the Regional Security Council should have preempted, should have seen this coming. But unfortunately, no measures were put in place. All state assets should have been protected while the announcements were going to be made. But unfortunately, that were not done. And so, for me, I think we still have the opportunity to make sure it doesn't happen again. And those who have been arrested, the police should make sure that the law deals with them in a way that will be deterring enough for those who would want to do the same thing.
All right, Adam Bona, thank you very much. Adam Bona is a security analyst there. We're going to do a quick stop at the Jubilee House where the president is presenting the constitutional instrument for the creation of the Bono East region.
Localities and districts of the proposed Bono East region for the creation of the region. I referred, in accordance with the dictates of the Constitution of the Republic, in Article 52A, on 26 June 2017, the petition to the Council of State for its advice. And on 15th August 2017, the Council advised that a commission of inquiry be established to determine whether or not there was a need and substantial demand for the creation of the proposed Bono East region. During the public hearings conducted by the 9-member Brobe Commission, headed by the eminent jurist, the retired Justice of the Supreme Court, Mr. Justice S.A. Brobe, the persons who appeared outlined a wide range of issues, from access to government and public services, access to educational and healthcare infrastructure, the equitable distribution of statutory funds and development projects, and the creation of growth poles using agriculture as a catalyst for growth and industrialization as some of the reasons for the demand for the creation of the new region. Indeed, out of the 10,109 participants and the 6 public hearings conducted in the proposed Brunei East region, there was not a single dissenting voice. When the time came for the constitutional threshold to be met in the 27 December 2018 referendum, 99.5% out of the 85.82% of the electorate who turned out to vote voted yes. Residents of Atebubu, Amanteng, Kintampo, Nkoranza, Pru, Sene, and Techima could not have conveyed their determination for the region in a much clearer voice. Nananum, I can assure that this government, which facilitated the creation of the region in compliance with the provisions of the Constitution, will help ensure the smooth takeoff and development of Brunei East. Many of the reasons alluded to as the basis for the creation of the new region are not peculiar to Brunei East alone. The creation of the 6 new regions presents us with the opportunity to serve better the needs of the people from these new regions through the effective and efficient reorganization and distribution of our public services and infrastructure. With the coalition from Brunei East described by the Brobe Commission as, quote, one of the most organized, unquote, I appeal to you to support government's efforts in developing the new region. Within 1 week of the declaration of the results of the referendum, I constituted a 7-member government committee chaired by the dynamic and sagacious Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, the Honorable Dan Butcher MP, with the Minister for Planning, the Honorable Jambafo MP, the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, the Honorable Alima Mahama MP, the Minister for Special Development Initiatives, the Honorable Mavis Hawa Kumson MP, the Minister for Finance, Kenu Furiata, the Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa, and the Presidential Advisor, Dr. Kwame Akotufo, as members to plan and oversee the rapid development of Brunei East. In the President's 2019 budget statement, an amount of 20 million cedis has been allocated as seed capital for Brunei East to help in the establishment of the needed infrastructure for the smooth takeoff of the region. I know one of the concerns of the coalition in Brunei East had to do with, quote, appointments to government positions and feelings of marginalization. You will thus be glad to know that soon you will have your own minister hailing from Brunei East. Until the appointment of a substantive regional minister for Brunei East, I have asked the current regional minister for Brunei East, for Brongahafo, the Honorable Evans Opoku-Bobie MP, to act as caretaker minister. I'm happy to inform you that Techiman has been chosen as the capital.
Right, so you have the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo there, presenting the constitutional instrument for the creation of the Bono East region. Of course, the good news is that Techiman has been named the capital of the Bono East region. It came with lots of jubilation and excitement, and obviously we'll bring you pictures from Techiman to find out how the people are reacting to this very latest news. Now, away from the presidency, Parliament's Privileges Committee has found Member of Parliament for Assin Central guilty of contempt of Parliament. Now, the Member of Parliament in 2018 described Parliament as useless on his television station in the wake of the Anas Aremiao Anas No. 12 expose. The committee considered the matter in the light of the totality of the evidence gathered and in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, the standing orders and other relevant enactments and recommendations recommended, his suspension for the rest of the session. Now, the House is yet to take a decision on the committee's recommendations. Away from Parliament, disposal of fecal waste in Kumasi is expected to improve after the completion of an integrated wastewater treatment plant by the middle of this year. The €13 million facility is to address waste management challenges in the Ashanti region. Here's a report by my colleague Benjamin Edu.
The 18-month project, being executed by a Hungarian company, Puriko, is expected to be completed by the middle of the year. 1,000 cubic meters of liquid waste will be treated daily. Executive Chairman of Jospon Group, Joseph Siam-Japon, assured residents of the best construction materials.
The Hungarians have been here for the past 6 months only on research to assure us that the fecal matter that they took as a sample will be able to design a robust and a solid equipment that will work for years. Because if 1958 was established a treatment plant, they must have one that will travel for 100 and more years.
Deputy Minister of Sanitation, Michael Yao-Jeto, underscored the importance of the project.
The issue of liquid waste management has become a very critical one for us as Ghanaians. There is no way Ghana can achieve her sustainable development goal without tackling the huge infrastructure gap we have as a country.
The project is a joint Jospon and Hungarian private initiative with support from Ghana and Hungary governments. The Hungarian ambassador to Ghana, Andras Szabo, reiterated his government's commitment towards Ghana's development.
The priority objective of Hungary is to strengthen the existing bilateral relations and to foster mutually beneficial trade and investment opportunities beyond granting aid. The project, which is being executed by a leading Hungarian company, Puriko, will be the first facility to be constructed by the Jospon Group of companies in Kumasi to help address wastewater disposal problems in the region.
Minister of Water Resources, Works and Housing, Samuel Atachia, commended Asantehene for releasing 130 acres of land for the project.
The same king of the Asantes has given my ministry 100 acres of land at Dedesua for us to do affordable housing. I'm using this platform to also morally and spiritually wake up all traditional rulers to give us lands, but we are about to roll affordable housing. Anywhere we go, we shouldn't have struggles for land.
You're so watching the Midday Live here on TV3. Let's bring you some more stories now. And when Ghana kickstarts its zipline drone delivery, 148 different products will be stocked for distribution. Now, unlike Rwanda that currently distributes only blood via zipline, Ghana will include the distribution of essential medicines and children's vaccines. My colleague Wendy Lai has the rest of the story.
Located at Omenako 5 kilometers to Suhum in the eastern region, will be Ghana's first zipline drone center for distribution. The center would reach health facilities within Eastern, Ashanti, Volta, Greater Accra and Central regions.
A lot of work was done on site selection and need assessment. So there was a lot of consultation that led to where the first center is situated.
Health products will include blood, essential medicines, children's vaccines and program commodities. In all, about 148 products will be stocked at the distribution center. There will be 13 blood products to cater for cases including maternal and road accidents, between 60 to 70 essential products to cater for cases including snake bites, rabies and heart attack, 10 products to cater for cases including yellow fever and measles, while program commodities covers between 30 to 40 products for TB and HIV and AIDS. But what went into the selection of the medicine range?
The product list wasn't selected by us. We worked with a team of healthcare experts within the public space. Started from a list of over 3,000 medicines that is supplied, and they worked judiciously to trim it down to 148 that they think that essentially almost every healthcare facility should be able to carry.
The first distribution center will serve over 500 facilities, which includes more than 30 hospitals, 60 plus health centers, and some 300 CHIPS compounds. According to officials of Zipline, the drone will replace emergency and not routine transport.
Seed technology has been identified as having the potential to transform the country's economy. Now, at a workshop in Akonsomo, the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Afriyie-Akoto, explained the technology is cheap and easily accessible and could turn around the country's fortunes.
Seed technology is a science of dealing with the methods of improving physical and genetic characteristics of seeds. It involves evolution and release of varieties, seed production, seed processing, seed certification and storage. The Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Afriyie-Akoto, bemoaned past governments' inability to capitalize on seed technology to transform the economy.
Any transformation in the economy should come from seed technology because it is the cheapest, it is available, except that previous governments have not used that very powerful tool in the transformation. So anytime I hear about seed, I run for it.
He said Ghana, in the next 3 years, would expand the production of cashew, coconut, oil palm, rubber, mango and coffee for export. Executive Director of Africa Seeds, Dr. Kwame Mezan, said partnership and collaboration are key elements in ensuring that Africa achieves seed security.
When the African Union gave the mandate to Africa Seed to coordinate and implement the African Seed and Biotechnology Program known as ASBP, we were well aware that partnership and collaboration were going to be key elements without which Africa Seeds would not succeed in its assigned task of custodian of seed security in Africa.
The Agric Minister was honored at the event.
The Auditor General, Daniel Domelevo, is proposing an amendment of the Constitution to allow individuals to take up prosecution of corruption-related cases. He is of the view the prosecution of corruption must not be the preserve of government agencies since it affects the entire society.
The Auditor General was addressing a town hall meeting organized by the Media Foundation for West Africa in Accra. The theme for the event was assessing the performance of the media in fighting corruption in Ghana 2 years into Akufo-Addo's administration. The Auditor General stressed the need for the privatization as well as commercialization of prosecution of corruption.
I also think seriously that we need to privatize or commercialize prosecution of corruption. Corruption is an offense against all of us. So why should we limit the prosecution of corruption to one person or one institution? So we should all have the right to prosecute corrupt practices. And I believe that if this is done, no one will be safe.
He insisted if individuals are compensated, it will encourage more people to venture into such fields to help reduce the prevalence of corruption in the country and create employment for others.
Why don't we create an avenue whereby young men and women who have come out of school, who have no job to do, can come together and say, we are forming a group, we are going to stop corruption in education, or we are going to stop corruption in health. So anything corruption in health, we will go after it. And when we win the case, we know government is going to give us 10% of that money. I think if that law or that situation is created, the audit report, I can also start selling it, isn't it? Because you run for the audit report to see where the corruption cases are.
For his part, Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima, wants the media to be resolute in fighting and exposing corruption.
Basically, I'm saying yes, we acknowledge the challenges, they are there. The media capacity building is important. Editorial support is quite crucial. We need to divest our minds from this thing that they call cognitive culture. We know that politicians and businesses will always try to influence the media. We do recognize that. But we must also recognize that there is corruption in the media, and fighting corruption in the society would require that, first of all, we fight within our own circles.
Ghana's consistent poor performance and low mark score in the annual Corruption Perception Index is an attestation of the level of corruption in Ghana. With an increase from a score of 40 in 2017 to 41 in 2018, many suggest not much is being done to end the canker. The report placed Ghana at 78 out of 180 countries, an improvement from 2017's rank of 81.
You're still watching Midday Live here on TV3. Now, two Nigerians who made an appearance on 3FM's morning show Sunrise are optimistic their candidates would win in their country's upcoming elections. The publicity secretary of the Ghana chapter of Nigeria's opposition party, the PDP, Barry Ndu, said Nigeria's President Buhari must go because he has caused much hardship.
Will go to the polls on Saturday with President Muhammadu Buhari running for another term. His closest contender is Atiku Abubakar. A supporter of Buhari says the president has managed to turn around the fortunes of the economy.
Buhari campaigned on three major promises: economy, security, and infrastructure. What is the state of this three situation in 2015? Security, we're seriously battling Boko Haram. Boko Haram taking over Nigerian territory, hoisting Islamic flag in about 3 to 4 states and 15 local governments of our territory, mainly in the northeastern part of Nigeria. The economy was already going into recession as at that point in time. By God's grace and the capacity of the economic team, within 2 years, Nigeria rose from the point of recession, even with the lowest amount of funds of revenue generated ever. Rose out of recession within 2 years and now putting it on the path of growth and development.
But the publicity secretary of the Ghana chapter of Nigeria's opposition party, Barry Ndu, disagree, insisting Buhari must go.
You came into office. You told us we are bringing in saints to come and do Nigeria. It took you 6 months. The man sitting here knows that Buhari has failed, but some of them, they find it very difficult to say the truth. They are suffering in silence. They know the government has messed up, but they can't say it openly. They die in their hearts and they come out openly to act as if everything is well. He knows deep down his heart that the government has failed. Even on the social media pages, most times he criticizes. Even yesterday was criticizing Buhari on the social media page.
Who was criticizing?
He is here. You can go to his Facebook page. So why come on the studio here and you claim that Buhari is doing when you know truly that the man has messed up the country?
You're still watching Midday Live here on TV3. We're streaming live on Facebook. Still to come, we've got the very latest in business, sports, and international news. As the president was speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of the Council of the Jubilee House.
Well and truly serve the Republic of Ghana.
The Council, among other things, will advise the President in formulating and implementing a national fiscal responsibility policy to ensure fiscal discipline in government expenditure and safeguard the public purse. The Council will also advise the President on how to ensure that, as provided by law, the budget deficit does not exceed 5% in the fiscal year to yield a positive primary balance.
If we are to realize our vision of a Ghana beyond aid, that is a Ghana no longer dependent on the benevolence or charity of foreign taxpayers and donors for the management of our public finances, we must change course. Hence the inauguration of the Presidential Fiscal Responsibility Advisory Council. I am determined the fiscal rectitude becomes an essential feature of our DNA in the management of our national economy.
The chairman of the council, a former governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Paul Akwa, said the council will work with a high sense of purpose to protect the public interest.
On our part, Mr. President, we shall bring to our responsibilities a high sense of purpose and dedication, and with due regard to safeguarding the public interest and bolstering confidence in public policy.
Still at the presidency, the Financial Stability Advisory Council, with a mandate to advise the president on how to strengthen and reinforce the stability of the financial sector, among other things, was also inaugurated.
A financial system in distress introduces uncertainty in the economy and undermines the stability and soundness of the financial system. It is to prevent any disastrous occurrence in the banking system and its ramifications across the entire financial system that my government has taken the bold step to establish a Presidential Financial Stability Advisory Council.
Chairman of the Council and Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, underscored the relevance of the Council's establishment.
There is no doubt in my mind that with the rich and diverse background of Council members, we can instill discipline in the various financial sectors and entrench financial stability to support government's transformational agenda.
In other news, the Association of Ghana Industries, the AGI, says it expects no increase in utility tariffs. This is on the back of recent demands by utility companies through the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, the PURC, for upward adjustment of tariffs.
The concessionaire was built to take over Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, on February 1. However, the board of the Millennium Development Authority, Midday, approved an extension to allow stakeholders to conclude consultations and finalize work on some critical aspect of the transaction. With the uncertainty on when the consortium of investors led by Manila Electric Company, Meralco, will take over Electricity Company of Ghana, there are already demands for upward adjustment of tariffs by utility companies, including ECG. The president of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Yaw Edujemfi, does not expect businesses to be burdened by any increase in utility tariffs.
We are expecting to see if at least there could be just a minimal tariff or no tariff at all, that we stay where we are, because one of our major challenges is the cost of utilities. So we are hoping for the best, that at least there will not be a greater increase, which also will affect us, because once the tariffs go up, of course our electricity bills also go up, not only electricity but water as well. So we are expecting that at least things will normalize, and even if there's an increase, it should not be something that will break our backs. What we are expecting to see is really the flow of funds into local businesses.
A leading downstream petroleum transporter, Joseph Kweku-Hoggle, has called for more financial support for transporting companies in the country's downstream petroleum sector. He noted that low financial support is affecting local transporting firms in the sector.
The downstream petroleum sector covers refining, storage, internal transportation, marketing, and sale of petroleum products. The fuel transporter, Joseph Kweku-Hoggle, noted internal transportation is key towards realizing the country's dream of its downstream petroleum becoming a West African hub. He stressed that an improved financial support for local companies in the transportation of petroleum would enable opportunities in the sector.
So it's difficult for you to get loans from the bank to first invest into the trucks. So you have to present some good documents to the bank before you can be paid. They can allow you some loans to buy them. Every time you have to be renewing your fleet, and the bank have to look at, can you pay them? If you can't pay them, the bank cannot give you the loan. That makes it a little bit difficult because your returns can be, the graph is up and down. Sometimes there's business, sometimes there's no business. And it affects the transport sector a lot.
Well, that's all for the business news segment on Midday Live. For more business news stories, do log on to our website, 3news.com. We'll take a short break when we... Well, so I'll tell you something very significant happening on social media. It's buzzing with comments following a tweet by Sweden-based musician Patapa, who is insisting his name will be in the history books of the Grammys someday.
Winners of the 61st Annual Grammy Awards were announced at Staples Center in Los Angeles on Sunday night. This has been the most sought-after musical awards worldwide, and it is the wish of every artist to receive any of those prestigious awards. Commander of the Patupa soldiers took to his Twitter account, expressing his desire to mount that iconic stage and come up with a Grammy Award. His tweet reads, one day, we will win Grammys. But hey, reactions to Patapa's rather strange hope on Twitter has been fabulously hilarious. Anansi at Ohiniba Kwesi tweeted, look at him, my friend, with what song? That's your noise. Be serious in life. Gasconi at Clifford Connie tweeted, dreaming is free. Owo roads, ayefo na wo kebi. Ras Bingi commented, it's possible. Just work harder and never look back. Never allow anyone to discourage you on whatever you set to achieve. The musician, known for his smash hit song One Corner, which took Ghana and some African countries by storm, believes that he will one day be part of the list of winners of the awards.
One day, Patapizzi and I will be at the Grammys. Just mark it. Well, that's how we conclude Midday Live here on TV3. We stream live on Facebook. Thanks also very much for watching us and for sharing your views and comments with us. That's how we conclude the news. For more news, you can log on to our website, www.3news.com. My name is Parker Siasari.